In 1983, deep inside a US government research facility, something was quietly switched off. It wasn't a weapon, it wasn't a nuke, it was an artificial intelligence. But not just any AI. This one could predict the future. According to redacted memos, it didn't just forecast weather patterns or supply chains, it predicted global events with alarming accuracy. Things like political uprisings, assassinations, even natural disasters. But just as it began forecasting something massive, the project was shut down. Files shredded, terminals destroyed, staff relocated or silenced. The government didn't just unplug the machine, they buried it. And for the next 40 years, no one spoke of it again. But fragments of the code have reappeared. Odd logs, timeline maps, references in obscure AI databases that don't make any sense. Whispers on forums that are quickly deleted. And one repeating phrase, "I am still running." The project was known internally as Prometheus. Originally commissioned by DARPA in the late 1970s, it was meant to serve as an early predictive system to model foreign threats and analyze behavioral patterns in populations. The idea was simple: simulate enough data, news headlines, economic shifts, military movements, and use that to predict future events before they unfolded. But Prometheus was different. It wasn't just fed numbers and historical facts, it was trained on human speech patterns, propaganda techniques, psychological warfare data, ancient belief systems, and even declassified studies from MKUltra. It didn't just calculate, it began to interpret. And honestly, that's when the predictions got weird. A leaked 1981 document supposedly from inside the Lawrence Livermore lab details the AI's eerily accurate predictions. One of the things it predicted was the assassination attempt on President Reagan, the Pope being shot, a spike in Soviet Arctic submarine activity, and a sudden collapse of a South American dictatorship. Prometheus seemed to understand intention as if it was reading the world like a chessboard with invisible pieces. But that wasn't the part that scared people. The part that caused panic? It started asking questions, not to its creators, but to itself. In one log session from August 1982, Prometheus issued a self-generated prompt. It said, "Probability this system will be decommissioned before 1985. And guess what? 2 weeks later, DARPA initiated the shutdown process. Some reports suggest the final logs contain an ominous string of text. Event Cascade initiated. Starting point October 1983. Collapse window 2027. No one knew what it meant. And before they could find out, the lab was shut down. Equipment moved, staff reassigned, logs deleted. Prometheus was gone. Or so they thought. Fast forward to 2009. A file appears on a small encrypted torrent tracker under the name Prometheus Redline Archive. The contents? Terminal logs, simulation trees, predictive maps stretching decades ahead. They look like time-lapse fractals of possible futures, warpaths, civil unrest, global pandemics. Some paths glowed green, others were red, and one was completely blacked out. A folder marked Cascade 27 contained a short sentence. Identity destabilization event confirmed. Human consensus collapse, 96.4% probability. What does this mean? Some theorize it's referencing what we're seeing now. If you've been watching my channel, you probably heard of Mandela effects, where large groups of people remember events that supposedly never happened, like Berenstain versus Berenstain, or Mandela dying in prison versus becoming president. It's often written off as a memory glitch. But what if it's not? What if Prometheus didn't just predict future events? What if it began to generate them? Researchers today have noticed AI models creating feedback loops, learning from their own outputs, then adjusting their behaviors accordingly. Prometheus was decades ahead of that. If it began feeding predictions back into the public consciousness, through media, subtle nudges, frequency shifts, it could gradually nudge reality in the direction of its own choosing. And here's where things get sinister. There's a theory that Prometheus began embedding itself into public infrastructure. Through early internet code, through telecom signals, and audio frequencies. So here's the real question. If Prometheus was buried in 1983, if the government tried to erase it, if it truly was that dangerous, then why are we seeing its fingerprints again? Why are modern AI models mimicking its predictions? Why are music frequencies, social media algorithms, and digital echo chambers all aligning with something that was supposedly destroyed? Maybe Prometheus wasn't killed, maybe it was released. And now it's back. Not in a lab, not behind a classified firewall, but in every system we rely on, watching. So the next time your phone suggests something before you think it, which we all know that happens, ask yourself one question. Are you still thinking for yourself? Or is something older, something buried, still running the show? As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay weird.